Good day. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, lovers and seekers, those who are lost and those who are found. Tonight's fragment is one from which I think we all can learn. The fragment we have tonight sports a headline that reads, "Good day." And the body reads as follows. When folks ask me, "How's your day?" "You have a good day." I respond as such. Yes, I did. I did have a good day. Now, I don't always like the day that I have. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, the day that I have is good. I always have a good day. 1. The shape of the question. How's your day? You have a good day. Such is the question repeated endlessly in the marketplaces, workplaces, households, and doorways of our common life. It may be spoken with genuine curiosity or merely as custom. It may be sincere or it may be perfunctory. But beneath its banality lies something elemental. For the question does not merely inquire into the events of the day, it inquires into our very relation to time. How's your day? Asks, how do you inhabit the gift of the hours? How do you interpret what has been laid upon you by fate, chance, providence, or necessity? The fragment responds not with complaint, nor with a ledger of fortune and misfortune, but with affirmation. Yes, I did. I did have a good day. Now, I don't always like the day that I have. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, the day that I have is good. I always have a good day. This formulation, gentle, deliberate, stubborn, offers us a philosophy disguised as small talk. It is an ethic of affirmation, a discipline of response, a stance toward existence. 2. The repetition of I did. The answer begins not once but twice. Yes, I did. I did have a good day. The repetition matters. The first, I did, affirms against doubt. The second, I did, strengthens the claim against inner hesitation. Here, affirmation is not cheap optimism, it is labor. The self must insist, twice, upon its truth. In this small repetition, we glimpse the struggle that lies beneath the surface of such a simple exchange. To say, I did have a good day, is not automatic, is not the language of denial. It is rather the training of the spirit to align itself with the deeper good that undergirds all experience. 3. The distinction between liking and goodness. The fragment introduces a crucial distinction. I don't always like the day that I have. This is not trivial. Liking is subjective, momentary, bound to moods, appetites, and circumstances. A day filled with rain may be disliked by one who hoped for sunshine, but the rain itself is not evil. A day of solitude may be disliked by one who craves company, but solitude itself is not a curse. Liking belongs to preference, goodness belongs to being. Thus the speaker separates taste from truth. They acknowledge the dislike honestly, but then rise above it. The day that I have is good. I always have a good day. This is the heart of the fragment's wisdom. Goodness is not contingent on my approval, is deeper than my preference. It inheres in the given fact of existence itself. 4. The judgment of the whole. Notice also that the declaration is made at the end of the day, when all is said and done. Judgment comes only in retrospect when the day is complete. A day cannot be called good at noon, for its story is not yet told. It may bring trials yet unknown. Only when the final hour has passed, only when one looks back upon the whole, can one declare, it was good. This temporal wisdom recalls the ancient adage that one cannot call a man happy until his life is ended, for the shape of happiness can only be seen in its totality. The fragment translates this into the scale of days. A day is known as good only in its wholeness. 5. The ontology of the given. The fragment grounds itself in the acceptance of the given, the day that I have. Not the day I wished for, not the day I imagined, not the day I lost, but the day that I actually have. To affirm the day that I have is good is to align oneself with reality as it is. It is to cease fighting endlessly against the facticity of existence, and instead to recognize its goodness in its very givenness. This is not passive resignation, is active recognition, is not to say that all things are pleasing, but to say that all things belong. 6. The practice of saying always. The most radical portion of the fragment is its final phrase, I always have a good day. Not sometimes, not occasionally, not if circumstances align. Always. Such a statement is not naive optimism, is discipline. It requires one to interpret every day, regardless of surface appearance, as good. This always refuses to grant despair the final word. It denies chaos the power to render existence meaningless. To say always is to declare a metaphysical constant. Goodness belongs not to chance, but to being. 7. The possible objection. But is this not dishonest? What of the day marked by grief, sickness, betrayal, or tragedy? Can we really call such a day good? The fragment's answer is subtle. I don't always like the day that I have. Here honesty about suffering is preserved. Pain is not denied. Dislike is admitted. Yet goodness is affirmed nonetheless. The key lies in understanding goodness not as pleasure but as value, as meaning, as belonging to the whole. Even days of sorrow contribute to the fabric of a life. Even days of pain teach endurance, humility, compassion. Goodness does not erase suffering, it redeems it. 8. Gratitude without denial. The fragment teaches gratitude, but not the shallow gratitude of platitudes. It is not every day is sunshine, or just be positive. Is a gratitude forged in realism. Gratitude here is not about denying hardship, but about recognizing the deeper gift, existence itself. To awaken into another day, even a difficult one, is to be entrusted with one more measure of life. To live is to be given, and what is given bears within itself an intrinsic goodness. 9. The day as the unit of existence. We live not in centuries or decades, but in days. The day is the proper measure of human existence. Each morning is a birth, each evening is a death. To affirm each day as good is to affirm life itself in its smallest unit. The fragment does not attempt to justify existence as a whole, in abstract. It justifies it day by day, piece by piece. In this way, existence becomes bearable. The whole of life is too vast to affirm in one stroke, but a single day, received and affirmed, can be carried. Thus, the discipline of saying, I always have a good day, is not escapism. It is the slow, daily stitching of life into goodness. 10. The ethics of response. When someone asks, did you have a good day? We are placed under a small but real ethical demand. Our answer is not neutral. It shapes both ourselves and our interlocutor. To answer with despair is to spread despair. To answer with affirmation is to plant a seed of gratitude in oneself and in the other. This does not mean lying. The fragment itself makes room for honesty. I don't always like the day. But the final word is goodness. The ethic here is not to deny pain, but to situate it within affirmation. 11. The discipline of evening. The fragment insists on evaluation at the end of the day. This teaches us patience. In the heat of the afternoon, when tempers flare, we are not yet ready to judge. Only with the coolness of evening, when the story has been lived to its end, can we see the day whole. Thus, the practice of ending each day with affirmation is a kind of spiritual rhythm. It mirrors ancient practices of prayer, examen, reflection. To look back upon the day and say it was good is to gather its fragments into wholeness. 12. The paradox of painful goodness. The most difficult truth is that goodness and pain are not mutually exclusive. We imagine them as opposites, but they coexist. A day can wound us and still be good. A day can bring sorrow and still be precious. The fragment dares to hold this paradox. It refuses to collapse goodness into pleasure. It insists that the deepest goodness of a day lies in its givenness, its belonging, its being part of a life we are living, whether or not we like it. 13. The metaphysical horizon. At its deepest level, the fragment echoes the primordial declaration, it is good. In the ancient texts of creation, before human approval, before human enjoyment, existence itself was declared good. To repeat this declaration in the small theater of our own daily lives is to participate in that ancient affirmation, is to echo the voice that spoke being into being. To say, I always have a good day, is to align one's voice with the very structure of existence. 14. the courage of saying yes. Such affirmation requires courage. It is easier to say no, to complain, to curse, to despair. Saying yes requires strength. It requires a deliberate act of will. The fragment models this courage. Its rhythm, hesitant, deliberate, insistent, shows us the struggle of saying yes. But it shows us also the victory of yes. For to say yes is to resist nihilism, is to choose life in the face of absurdity. 15. Closing meditation. The fragment, though framed as casual speech, conceals a profound philosophy. It teaches us, first, to distinguish liking from goodness. Second, to judge a day only when complete. Third, to accept the givenness of existence. Fourth, to practice the discipline of always. Fifth, to cultivate gratitude without denial. Sixth, to speak ethically in our responses. Seventh, to find courage in affirmation. The day is the vessel of life. Each day is small, fragile, fleeting. And yet each day, by the fact of being lived, is good. So let the question come, how's your day? You have a good day. And let the answer stand simple, resolute, tender. Yes, I did. I did have a good day. I don't always like the day that I have. But at the end of the day, when all is said and done, the day that I have is good. I always have a good day. In that answer lies a philosophy. In that answer lies a life lived in affirmation.